Like,
Thank you, Elia. My compliments to the flock, as always.
I wasn't worried until she said that. Let's get out of here.
Enjoy the time with your flock, dearie. Try to keep them out of the other camps.
Envoy?
You did. I kicked her corpse.
And
Sapadal was responsible for the... But there won't be any new this.
I suppose it stands to reason. Ludwig had intimated that this land grew a new god. But how can that be?
Giada and I have some theories about the nature of the Adra in the living lands.
I'd say we're past the point of theorizing.
If the Adra here is a closed system, like a terrarium for our souls, then a gradual accumulation of essence could coalesce into a being in the beyond.
Much like the formation of gemstones. All it takes is time and the right application of pressure.
Wodka no doubt saw Sapadal as a threat to her authority. So, she killed the godless and imprisoned their god.
I assume it is this god we have to thank for the roots tearing apart Paradis? They erupted from the earth the moment those bastards stood up their first siege tower.
Naku Tedek was riven with those things, not to mention what they did to the land.
We saw similar destruction at Nakuku Bell. If these roots and the Dream Scourge are the work of a god, and the gods thought it best to imprison this god, how could you let such a creature go free?
Let's hope they don't decide to further amend themselves by coming for our heads.
It was Adir's arrival that disturbed Sapadal. We'll have nothing to fear from this god once we expel you from our lands.
Sapadal's power ravaged my people. I don't know that I can ever trust it.
keeping watch over Sapadal was a sacred task Nandru gave us when he left. For that reason alone, my wardens owe them their allegiance.
Well, whatever happens, I suppose we can't put the godling back in the bottle now. But come, we have more pressing matters to attend to. The Steel Garrote have attacked Paradis. Inquisitor Ludwig has already joined the battle. She must have traveled like the wind to get here so fast.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking. Just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwig's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
Oh, cheer up. You wouldn't be the first to make that mistake. Might not be the last either, depending on how things go. So long as her passion for Wodica lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That will be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible. Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Ludwine who called for the attack.
I didn't hear an answer, Ambassador.
She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city shortly after you beat her to the garden.
We've had no news from inside for several days. From what we can observe, pieces, and the remaining militia batters at the gates to no avail.
Is there nothing our people can do?
Given the state of our supply routes after the Dream Scourge, and the Steel Garrote's destruction, we expect the people trapped inside will run short of fresh food and clean water in a matter of days.
We brought as many Hail-and-Able from Thirdborn as would come. But after the Dream Scourge and our losses from Noctua Bell, we could spare so few. I worry it won't be enough.
Likewise, my wardens are still reeling from effects of the eruption. The keep was saved, but there is much to repair, particularly if we are to endure a siege. Most of my men remain at the keep. I can't risk them against the Steel Garrote for the sake of Paradis, not when we are so few.
Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the Steel Garrote, nor who should lead the effort.
Nobody wants to risk their people at the front.
So you let the Paradis militia go it alone?
Even if our meager forces should make it inside.
The siege won't end until Ludwine does. And none of you know how to kill her.
Precisely. The lawful settlement of a new Adirian colony, supposedly. Or the establishment of a Wodican state. She could win with a godlike in her ranks. Your presence would serve as a powerful endorsement. I suspect that's rather the point. If they don't believe in the strength of her convictions, she'll show them. Remember, she has an obligation to Wodica, a solemn oath. And neither the Steel Garrote nor the Queen that was look kindly upon oathbreakers.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwine and the Tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence. Why are you treating him with kid gloves when Paradis cries out for help?
Enough. I've heard your concerns. We cannot change it now.
The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adir that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Ludwine's vision for the Living Lands. Ludwine agrees. Our success would model the order and dignity of the Steel Garrote, for whatever that's worth.
You can say what you want, but you're still trying to subjugate us.
Careful, Envoy. Adir may still have a part to play, but don't let loyalty blind you.
When I think dignity, I think of the people who attacked Fior Messiverno unprovoked. Oh, I can't wait to see how you weasel out of this one.
I know it will. We are leading by example, returning order and dignity to Paradis in the wake of the Clavager's death.
We will do the same to the frontier, given the chance.
Where was order and dignity when you burned Fior Messivernal?
My administration had nothing to do with that, as I know you know. Adir in rule and rule by the Steel Garrote would be markedly different beasts.
Spoken like a fucking diplomat. Splitting hairs when it all comes from the same head.
Order and dignity. That's what you think we're missing? Bastards! All of you!
You will take it all, whether the chance is given to you or not.
What passes between Ludwig and her men, or between Ludwig and the Emperor, for that matter, is not my affair. But if I had to guess, this was the alternative.
Your empire is doing what it does best. Stamping out dissent until surrender is the only option.
Your republics are hardly any different. Their intentions in the Deadfire were certainly not pure.
As you say, we left the republics for a reason.
The Inquisitor answers only to Wodica. In attacking Paradis, she has dragged us all far beyond the bounds of the Emperor's desires. That's what Ludwig thinks. Adir doesn't revere Wodica as fervently as it once did. Worship of Margrin, Berith, even Aethys has gained a foothold. Many no longer trust that the gods are listening. Some question whether they guide the wheel at all. The Empire lost its foothold in the Eastern Reach. The well-bred avoid child-rearing in pursuit of cosmopolitan pleasures. The Church is weak against them. In a world of soul against soul, Ludwig believes we have lost ours. The Empire must change, or it will die. How could I know what paths her convictions would take her down? You and I both know she is not the only one in the Empire who feels this way. Even the Emperor can see, in some sense, that she's right. Why else would we be here? I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwig has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room? Before you face Ludwig, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adir will come. Indeed, we are already here. The Living Lands would become an extension of the Adiran Empire in leadership and law. Soldiers bearing the flag of Adir would be garrisoned in every town. They would be paid in Adiran shelling and speak only the Adiran language. Their roads would be smooth Adiran roads. Their medicine would be hygienic Adiran medicine. And their weapons would be efficient Adiran weapons. Our customs would become their customs. Our strengths would become their strengths. Our emperor would become their emperor. Turned toward a common purpose. No one, not Rawatai, not the Valian republics, not even a rogue god, would dare attack the Living Lands. This island would be safe for the first time in its history, and safe it would remain.
The traditions of Solus are what give my wardens their strength. Without them, we would buckle under the weight of the tusks. I would sooner walk my people into the acid sea than trust an Adiran to hold me up.
What need does Thirdborn have for the protections of Adiran soldiers? We have cannons, cliffs, and wills forged in the storms of Rawatai. And should Rawatai come for us, we will rain hellfire down on their heads. Your Adirans could do no better.
Under Adiran rule, Your countrymen would strip my people of everything that makes them unique, all in the name of spiritual hygiene. I cannot betray them like that.
He would suppress our culture before it's had a chance to grow. Everything my people cultivated would be reduced to a footnote. If you have any love for this land, do not allow him to overwrite our history.
Rawatai built its empire from colonies like this. Many have become centers of culture and prosperity, backed by the protection of a strong navy. Of course, it can take decades to get there, and this road isn't an easy one. But Adir won't be the only empire eyeing this place. A formal agreement now could protect us from something worse later.
It shall be peaceful in that all dissenters will be silenced. So there's that.
Living Lands is a lot of things, but it will never be Adir, no matter how hard Adir wants it to be. Adir should turn back now and save everyone a bunch of blessed day trouble.
The Adder's promise. Flip our feathers as we find our wings. The deed binds as the wire binds. To drown us, why were we set free?
Of course. The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands to our mutual benefit. They would divide the island into administrative districts and see them governed by mayors appointed from the local communities. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources and taxes, and in times of war, soldiers. The Empire, I should note, is nearly always at war. In return, the Living Lands would enter Adir's sphere of influence, and should outside nations attempt to invade, we would come to the Grave Room's aid. Naturally, that would be the Emperor's decision. But I suspect he would choose you. Only the strong survive the frontier. I used to believe that was Ludwig. But you were born to rule here. Quite literally. Well, give the matter some thought. You owe that much to yourself, at least.
We give up our fighters and the wealth of our lands, and get promises in return. Can you wield a promise, envoy? Can you drink it like clean water? Can you see it when you open both eyes wide?
A grave room could work, so long as trade keeps moving through the Scarp and you're willing to serve as our go-between envoy. And we'll have cannons enough to deter the adherents from trying anything stupid.
When the Empire demands its tribute, from where will it come? Emerald Stair is not the breadbasket it was, and the dream of yore is now deferred. If we accept this deal, I fear we are building a trap certain to catch our own legs.
Tribute, he says. Taxes. Soldiers. The Empire has tried it all before. Look to the Eastern Reach if you don't believe me. They want to bleed us dry, to fill their coffers and fight their wars, to break us like wild animals. But I will not bend.
It's still a gamble, but I think it's the safest bet. We get the benefits of Imperial trade and protection without losing all of what makes this place special. There's no way of knowing what it would mean in another generation or two. But right now, it gives us the security and stability to recover.
We were fine before Adir showed up, and we'll be fine when they're gone. Trust the lands and her people, envoy.
If we give Adir power over us, we can't be surprised if they decide to flex it later.
Subtle, pernicious, touch the rot, yet the disease remains. Safety among spiders. A web gleaming with dew. They weave, they wait.
Of course. Oh, Envoy, no. Do not suggest that lightly. Think of the Emperor. There would be reprisals. Ones which this conclave could not survive, fractured as you are. Not unless you came together and formed a nation of your own. It would be difficult. No, impossible. I'm certain you would fail. Think of your people, all of you. Think of the lives at stake. Well, let's not twiddle our thumbs while Paradis burns. I believe you'll find the Emperor agrees.
Solus will have no part in this, now or ever.
Thirdborn refuses to be involved. Test our cannons at your peril.
Fjord will be free and practice animancy, so long as I'm on this side of the wheel.
It won't be an easy transition, but it'll be good to unite under one banner, eventually.
Wonderful. I'm sure everyone will adore working under the yoke of Adir.
It is decided. I will tell the Emperor's men that Paradis will become a colony of Adir. That leaves the matter of Ludwine and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. Not even the establishment of a colony would satisfy her now. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradis, and eventually the island.
Whatever happens to the living lands, at least I can kill Ludwine. I'll take that over nothing.
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
Let's get to work then. We've got a walking corpse to bury.
The Paradis militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
Show them that the living lands will not be broken across Vodka's knee.
We will send reinforcements to help you reclaim the Eastern Gate. From there, work your way to the main plaza. May all the gods of Eora and the living lands protect you.
Let's take back the city. Whatever happens tomorrow, the Steel Garrote can only make it worse.
Time to stop the Steel Garrote. Lead the way, Envoy.
Let's go free a city, shall we?
The work.
Envoy, didn't think I'd be seeing you again. From one battlefield to another, eh? Dreams rolls and now this.
Envoy.
can't wait to give the steel.
You should get some sleep. Big day coming up. Right. Things feel different now. Wrong, somehow. I've been in a lot of dangerous situations, but it's always been a fight to survive. It's just a fight. Putting my life on the line for someone else's cause. It's the opposite of survival. It's foolishness. You know, I've never seen a bear go to war. They fight for survival, not for causes. We're about to go out there and risk our lives for, what? A concept of how things ought to be? We might die, all to determine who sleeps in the nicest house in Paradis until the island decides it's time for a change. It's fine, really. But it's some blessed day Sokka when you think about it. Right. Careful you don't get stuck in all that sap. I'll be all right, Envoy. You go get some...
Can't sleep? Neither can I. We're going into battle for the soul of the living lands, rallying under the banners of the Paradis militia. Your Emperor will not be pleased. Political influence is dangerous. If you aren't careful, it can turn against you. When a godlike fights in battle, people take note of which side. The Adherents will doubt your loyalty. The locals will doubt your commitment. You may even doubt yourself. This is the first time you were told to pick a side. And I fear it won't be the last. This conflict has really pulled you apart. Worse, it's put your soul at risk. From what I understand, your ambassador is very persuasive, very powerful, and very accustomed to getting his way. For a politician like him, losing a battle is not a defeat. It's an opportunity. When he promises you the world, don't listen. He'll fill your head with lies if you let him. I'm glad we understand each other. It's good to see you fighting for the misfits and rabble-rousers. Time for you to get some rest. We have a big day ahead of us. In truth, I'm not as worried as I used to be. I've been thinking about the Inquisitor. Formulating a theory, you might say.